The Volquest 2-minute drill is brought to you by Craven Wings.
Brett Hubbs along with Rob Lewis for another edition of the Full Court Press presented by our good friends at Craven Wings. Tennessee getting their first SEC win, a 63-59 slugfest in Oxford, Mississippi against Ole Miss. Rob, it wasn't pretty, but winning on the road in this conference isn't. You take it and go to the house, right?
Yeah, no question about it. You don't look at it. You don't analyze it tonight. I mean, I'm sure Rick will do plenty of that on the bus or plane ride home tomorrow in the film room. But no, you start out 1-0. You get that first one on the road, and this was a determined Ole Miss team tonight. I'm not going to try to sell it as they're really good, but they came out with a lot of fight tonight. They clearly, wanted to try and take the fight to Tennessee. They were determined. And in the first half, I mean, they were the better team, and it wasn't particularly close. I thought Tennessee was pretty fortunate to only be down 4 at the break.
Yeah, Tennessee at one point down 10 in the first half. In the second half, they hold Ole Miss to 28% shooting. Rob, if Tennessee doesn't have Santi tonight, it's a long night for Tennessee. Everybody wondering about his game offensively. 22 points for him tonight. He was the catalyst and carried a Tennessee offense that, again, seems to have a hard time finding points.
Yeah, and at this point, Hubbard, I mean, I don't think it's going to go away. I mean, I think if you need to see pretty offensive basketball to enjoy watching the game, then I'll see you in spring practice. Because I mean, I think this Tennessee team's going to win a bunch of basketball games. I mean, maybe win the league, but it's not always going to be pretty. But they will absolutely fight you. Defensively, they'll make it tough for you. I mean, Ole Miss came out tonight, had shot nearly 50% in the first half. They didn't get their first field goal until the 12:46 mark of the second half. I mean, I bet there was no paint left on the visitors' locker room wall when Tennessee got done. And I mean, they came out and they were a totally different team. I'm not saying they were lackadaisical. I don't know that they were quite ready for the intensity that Ole Miss opened the game with, but they were ready in the second half.
Yeah, and the Kumwa foul trouble did not help Tennessee in any way, shape, or form because it looked like he could have his way inside if he could have stayed on the floor. Without him on the floor, Jonas Adu, Rob, defended the rim, rebounded the basketball, scored a few points along the way. For Rick Barnes, that's about as good as it's going to get out of Adu right now, isn't it, in terms of a performance?
Hubbard, for me, I mean, I've wrote this. People can read it. I would dispense with the charade of even starting Euros. I mean, unless you think Adu is just better coming off the bench, because what Adu gave you tonight, and I'm not a Euros hater. Great kid, great teammate. Euros can't give you what Adu gave you tonight. 13 rebounds. Tennessee out-rebounded Ole Miss 38-28. Adu was the reason why. One sequence in particular in the second half, it's a 4-point basketball game. Ole Miss kind of has a semi-transition situation where they had the ball in the paint, easy layup. Adu blocks 2 consecutive shots from behind, and then after the second block, tips it out to where Tennessee gets possession. I mean, he's the only kid on the team that can make that play. And again, it was a point-blank bucket. It's a 52-50 game at that point if Adu doesn't get that done. Played smart, played within himself. I mean, didn't take any threes. And I'm not saying he should never take any threes, but in a game like this where it's possessions are so important, he probably shouldn't. He took one bad shot in the first half, which I think you remember. And other than that, he really stayed within himself tonight, which was a big deal in a game where possessions were vital.
I'm glad you're reading my text during the game when I sent that. Tennessee with 11 offensive rebounds, 16 second chance points. Rob, I'm going to leave you with this. Tyreek Key, 0 of 2 from the field. I know he's having a hard time getting a shot. Where is he offensively, and can Tennessee get anything going with him to take a little pressure off Zakai Ziegler and Santi in the backcourt?
Hubbard, I think that's a great question, and I don't know the answer to it. I mean, I don't think he's overwhelmed at this level. I really don't. I mean, I think it's more of a case of fitting in, finding where his role is with this team. Because frankly, I didn't watch a lot of Indiana State basketball, but looking at his numbers now he plays, I'd be willing to bet you his role is pretty similar to what Santiago's has been for just about his entire college career. And my feeling, and again, I may be wrong, but my opinion is playing with a guy who is basically plays the same way that he does and has to get open the same way that he does. I wonder if that's not slowing him down. But he does look tentative. I mean, there's no way around it. And Coach talks about it all the time. So many times, Tyreek turns down maybe not a great look, but a decent look. With 15, 20 seconds left in the shot clock, and then with 3 seconds left in the shot clock, it ends up in Santi's hands, and he's had to throw something up. It wasn't as bad tonight as it has been, but that's a real thing going forward. And I think with the way this team struggles offensively, I think you've got a lot of untapped scoring potential there with Tyreek. And I don't know what the answer is to unlock it, but I don't think it's a case of he can't play at this level. I think it's a case of he has not figured out how to fit in best with his team right now.
Yeah, he certainly have a hard time hunting his shot. But for whatever it is for Tennessee right now, it's a win. And Tennessee continues to march on. They get their first win in conference play. Winning on the road is hard to do. Tennessee gets a 63-59 win in Oxford, Mississippi over the Ole Miss Rebels. That's going to do it for this edition of the Full Court Press, brought to you by our good friends at Craven Wings. He is Rob Lewis. I'm Brent Hubbs. Have a great rest of your Wednesday night, everybody.
When you're craving wings, it's got to be Craven Wings. Online at cravenwings.com.